Okay, so let's take a look at how you can plot the radar chart or spider chart into our language plots. So what we will do, first thing, we will open our studio, and in between let me tell you that radar chart, also known as spider chart, often not used by data science people due to the way they are difficult to use and also view for data, but they are kind of fancy and often used with data science sketches. So if you are into that, you can make use of this, right? So first thing we will do is we will install package. So install packages, and we will type in fmsb. This is the package that we need. Okay, once we do that, we will be able to use radar chart, right? So here, first thing, we will call this package fmsb, right? Next thing, we will have to create some data, right? So here, so as data dot frame, right? So we will create a data frame, and within that we will pass a matrix with sample of, let's say, 2 to 20, right? And then we will set replace to true, or you can also use t, and also we will use n equal to 10, right? Now the next thing would be to, we will have to think of column names, right? So make sure that we are adding one bracketless here, okay, because after that we will be using this comma and encode. Next thing, we have data. Now we can also have column names for this data, and let's have some column names. Let's start from variable, and we will add, say, up to 10. So let me copy this. So variable 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So from here let's calculate 3, then 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and finally 10, right? So we have to remove this comma at the end as well. Small things you will have to pay attention to, so that may take some time, but it will save you from errors later, right? Now let's have our data properly sorted. Now also add rbind 2010, right? Also we will be adding 0 to 10, and finally we will be passing previous data variable. So we have our data set ready. We can now push for radar chart, right? So I can make this window maximized and type in radar chart. Then within that we pass data, right? So first line we will execute. You can simply put the cursor at the first sentence, then run. Then in next line we have data, one observation, 10 variables, then column names, right? Then we have data, right? So 3 observation of 10 variables, right? Now next thing, radar chart. run this statement, and we have our variable 1 all the way to variable 10. Now you notice that your variables are connected with this default black color. You can change this by changing few things within your radar chart function, right? Also you can fill this area, right? That way you would have multiple colors between these. Also you can turn this into one fill color, something like gray or maybe green. You can have that as well. Now to do that, we can try one example with fill, right? So let's say if I want to fill this with some sort of a greenish color, what we can do, we can extend our chart function here with data, then axis type, right? Here we will have to set to 1, then comma. In the next line we will have to work with pcol, which is vector for color codes. So usually if you find me explaining some of these and you have no idea what I am typing, you can simply type that and keep the cursor as is. It will try to autocomplete and show you the information of what these variables or parameters that we are passing for this radar chart function, right? So pcol equals to RGB 0.2, then 0.5, then 0.5, and then finally 0.9, right? Then we also have PF color for RGB value of, let's say, 0.2, then 0.5, right? Then comma 0.5. You can have these RGB color codes by simply typing into Google and get the color palette and then their respective hex or RGB colors. Here we will have to use RGB and not hex, right? So we have one more is, right? So here you see the width for our plot, PL width, right? So plot width, and here I can set 4, so it will be a thicker line, right? Then again comma, and next line we can have CG color, and for that we will use gray, right? And there is also one more thing is CGLTY set to 1, right? Likewise we can have axis labels as well, axis and axis label color first, so stick with gray for now. Then we have labels, equals to let's see, sequence from 0-25, right? And then comma, next line CGLWD set to 0.8, right? And also one more is right, and set to 0.8 or 3.8, right? So these are some of the parameters passed to radar chart. Let's see the type of output it can offer you. So I will run one by one again this time and try and clear previous plot. So let's run this. Next line, okay, and now we will select this entirely and run this. Unexpected symbol in, okay, so this is supposed to be comma, right? So go through everything, make sure there are no errors, and then run. Okay, so here you will find plenty of warning messages just in case we are not using any of these properly. And you will notice that it has plot this radar plot, and where we have embedded the color of greenish, right? You can check through Google if you want any other RGB value color, right? So say if you want orange or bluish, you can have that as well. So you have typical radar chart or spider chart, as well as area field radar chart as well. So you can have all of these charts using fmsb library. So this is the one you use for plotting spider chart or radar chart.